Hello and welcome to Magic the Gathering Online Speculation, Economics, and Finance. I'm your host, Birdman, and today we're going to be going over the ban of Aetherworks Marvel. But before we get into that, a brief introduction. This is going to be a show about the Magic Online economy, speculation, finance, economics, and all things Magic the Gathering Online. There's a lot of Magic finance out there as far as cardboard Magic goes, but sadly there's not a lot of good content out there for Magic the Gathering Online. That is, unless you're willing to spend some money. There's some quality content out there behind paywalls, but this show is going to be brought to you free of charge to help enrich you and enrich your Magic Online experience. Normally we'll be talking about cards that I'm buying, cards that I'm selling, suggestions for cards you may want to watch, and of course take it all with a grain of salt because, just because I think something's a good move, I could be completely wrong, so risk your tickets accordingly. However, I feel fairly confident in the calls that I'm going to be making, and each week we're going to have a segment called Making Moves, where we'll be talking about cards I'm buying, cards I'm selling, cards I'm watching, and making predictions for the future. But this week is a little different. We've got a ban announcement I want to talk about. So this week we're gonna handle a little bit different, because ban announcements where we actually have a card that's being banned from Standard, while they have been not all that uncommon lately, it's certainly still noteworthy. Today I'm recording this at about 7 o'clock on June the 14th, 2017. And yesterday, June the 13th, 2017, Aetherworks Marvel was banned from Standard. Now I have a little bit of a different take on this than you're going to hear from a lot of places. The thing I want to point out that not a lot of people have been talking about is how the announcement was made on June the 13th, 2017, and the effective date for Magic Online is 2014 June, and the effective date for regular paper Magic is going to be June 19th. But the announcement was made on June 13, 2017. You can go to the Magic the Gathering website and find the actual announcement by Aaron Forsyth posted there. But I just wanted to highlight that the actual announcement occurred on June the 13th. Now if we go all the way back to April the 24th of this year, that's when the emergency announcement was made for the Felidar Guardian. And that announcement was on April the 24th. And the interesting thing is, at the end of that announcement they indicated, and I quote, "The next BNR announcement, June 14, 2017, effective date for that announcement will be June 19." So they basically told everyone they were going to make the next announcement on June the 14th. Not the effective date that the announcement would go into place, but the actual announcement was forecasted to us to be made on June the 14th. So that means they actually made this announcement a day early. Now, I know a lot of you may be asking, well, who cares? What's the big deal? Well, it is a little bit of a big deal, because for those in the finance world, we all know that whenever a card is banned, there's going to be big moving and shaking in card prices. Not just for the banned card, but for other cards that perhaps were in the deck being played with that card, along with implications for a whole lot of other cards because of metagame shifts that happen after a ban. For example, let's say that Vehicles becomes the deck now, and then maybe a deck like green black Delirium becomes very good because it's got a little bit of game against Vehicles now and doesn't have to worry about turn 4 combo annihilation, and it actually can go a little bit deeper and further and build up a mid-rangey card advantage over time and put some big fat threats on the board to just kind of go over the top of Vehicles. Well, then maybe some cards that were being played in that deck are going to go up in value, and people who can think through the ramifications of a potential ban, well, they might want to make some moves. And if a card has been trending downward you don't want to pick it up until it reaches the bottom of its price range. And coming up on the day before a ban, that's usually where you want to be. Anyway, let me give you some specific examples, because where the rubber meets the road, I think there's some practical applications here. I can give you some examples. So let's go ahead and shift to a little bit of our making moves segment. And first, I want to talk about what I did do. I picked up 12 copies of Gideon, Alley of Zendikar, and I did that a couple of days ago on the 12th. That's right, I picked up 12 Gideons on June 12th. And I did it because I felt like Gideon was kind of a sure thing. His highest price on Magic Online, and by the way, I'm using MTG Goldfish for all of my information. I feel like it's a very good site, provides a lot of good data. It's free. You can go there and check everything out. And it gives you some information, whether you want to look at paper prices or online prices. It's got all that for you. Anyway, looking at online pricing, its highest price has been $38. Its lowest price, $13.50. And if you go back to a couple days ago, its price was actually about 15 tickets, or $15, if you will. And so I thought, if Aetherworks Marvel gets banned, well, Gideon's going up, because people are going to run to vehicles. Vehicles may not be the way to go, but in a time of confusion after a ban, when nobody knows what the best thing is, a lot of people just revert to whatever they know is solid, and that means something like blue-white flash, white-black zombies, vehicles, basically decks that run Gideon. Therefore, if a ban occurs, people will run to Gideon. But the other thing that's worth noting is that there were starting to be some vehicles decks and some white-blue flash decks that were running Spell Queller as the tech to overcome Aetherworks Marvel. And those decks were starting to put up some pretty good results. So even if Aetherworks Marvel didn't get banned, well, Gideon was still going to be a good call. And when he's sitting, at $15, and in the lowest price he's seen is $13.50, again, Magic Online prices, then $15 seems like a reasonable place to spec in. So that worked out. I don't feel like this was a particularly profound call, because Gideon he was going to win either way. I think he wins bigger because of the ban. He's really going to be seeing a lot of action. Right now, even though the price is bumped up to right now $19.41 online, but they're only buy listing right now at a little over 18 tickets. So I'm going to wait a little bit. I think he's still got some room to go up. I don't really foresee selling this guy until the buy list hits 20 tickets. I'm fairly confident it's going to get there. Again, after this ban, a lot of people are going to be running to Gideon. They're not really going to know what else to do. And there's going to be a lot of testing, but I think a lot of people will just go to what they know is solid. Anyway, I think there's some other things worth pointing out. I was actually going to buy Aetherworks Marvel. My plan was to buy Aetherworks Marvel on June 13, prior to what I thought was going to be the ban announcement on June the 14th. Now, this means I would have done something pretty stupid in hindsight, right? I was going to pick these up when they were around $2.60, I believe, somewhere leading up to the ban. And my thinking was I would pick up a stack of Aetherworks Marvels because I didn't think they were going to get banned, and then I figured I'd be getting in on the cheap on a powerful deck. A powerful deck's main, one of its main cards that I could sell. You could also go in on Ulamogs, but it's rotating here after a couple of sets come out, and Aetherworks was going to be around longer, so I thought I would just grab those. Now, let me be very clear. I think that Wizards did the right thing with the ban. I'm very happy that they banned Aetherworks Marvel. Candidly, I just thought that Wizards would cave in and not do it, because when we go back in time, WotC really struggled to ban Felidar Guardian. That was a card that everyone knew needed to be banned, and when they didn't ban it with the regular ban announcement, people weren't happy. So much so that Wizards figured it out and eventually did sort of an emergency ban. They said they were reacting to data from Magic Online, but I think a lot of more cynical minds believe it was just that they were out of touch, and once all the outrage kicked in, they realized they had to do something, and so that's when they activated the ban. Well, my thinking was, if they struggled that hard to pull the trigger on a ban in an obvious situation, a lot of people have been saying, the Marvel ban is 50-50 because even though it's strong, it's not necessarily too strong. The metagame is shifting and figuring out how to beat it. The turn 4 combo really only lands 9 or 10% of the time, and so on and so forth. Now, I think it's a good thing that they banned Aetherworks Marvel because it's just exhausting for the masses out there to have to deal with the Saheeli Ray combo and then Aetherworks Marvel combo. And I think a lot of people were just tired of losing on turn 4, and it was kind of taking the life out of Magic. Even if this doesn't open up the metagame as much as some people think, even if the top decks stay there and sort of cannibalize the metagame share that Marvel had, and we don't see any new good contenders, I still think most people are going to be happier, so it was a good move. But I just didn't think Wizards was going to pull the trigger, so I was going to buy a lot of these Aetherworks Marvels. I was going to do it the day before the announcement. Wizards comes in and makes the announcement a day early, and they save me about $2 a copy on these Marvels I was going to buy. But there's another tail to this story, because I was also going to buy Ishkanaz, because I figured, you know what, I think it's 50-50. I don't think they're going to ban Marvel, but just to hedge my bets, I'll pick up a stack of Ishkanaz, because if they do ban Marvel, I just think that Ishkanaz got a chance to spike in price, because I think a lot of mid-range opens up again when you don't have to worry about the turn 4 Boogeyman and Ishkanaz, Black-Green Delirium. I mean, this is mid-range, this is just good, solid, grinds you out kind of stuff, and that's where I think the metagame may be headed now. So anyway, this card was really in the tank. I mean, this was a mythic that was once at a high of 18 tickets, all the way down to 2 tickets and 38 cents. I mean, you could almost just get in on this because it can't go much lower anyway, and there's so much upside. If a ban happened, and even if a ban didn't happen, you could just turn around and sell your pile of Ishkanaz and probably take maybe a 10% loss for taking a swing at the situation. Needless to say, when the ban announcement went into effect, the card doubled in price, and I would have made about $2.50 a card on these. So I lost money on that. Again, I wasn't able to make this move because I was waiting until the last possible moment to make these moves on Ishkanaz and Aetherworks Marvel. Now, again, I didn't get to make these moves. Maybe they just offset. Maybe I'm no better or worse off. But I think there are some people out there that were, maybe looking at doing similar, probably even doing much bigger things than I was doing. I was just looking at picking up a pile of a couple of different cards. Nothing major. But there may have been people who are going to make much bigger moves that just didn't get a chance because of the way this thing unfolded with the announcement coming a day early. At any rate, the only reason I picked up the Gideons again a little bit early was I thought it was a sure thing. I thought maybe other people figured it out and start getting in on them the day before the announcement, and so I went in a couple days early just because I thought the price was good at 15, and I felt like it was a quasi sure thing. The only other thing I'm going to mention is I think Kalitas is really interesting because it's seen a high of $38.50, a low of $6. Lately, though, it was just kind of, even seeing just about zero gameplay in standard. I mean, this thing is just seeing very little play in standard right now. It's just nowhere. Even with no play, it's still holding a price, around, at a low $10, $10.50 online. So, I already had some of these that I had just kind of been sitting on. I bought in on them earlier because I thought that they were cheap. I remember I got in somewhere around Amonkhet because I thought I was getting in at a good point, and then I just kind of been holding them because they hadn't gone anywhere, and I thought with this announcement coming up maybe there'd be a shift, and now we're starting to see a shift. So I didn't bother to pick up any new copies, but I think Kalitas has a chance to really pick up some steam. So if you've been thinking about grabbing some of these, now's a good time. I mean, with the zombies deck being where it's at now, it's going to need some more muscle, I think, to push against these decks that are going to try to go long game. I mean, the meta up to this point was all about you got to get in fast and beat Marvel. You want to keep them off balance and be in there hopefully to have a chance to beat them early. Or if you get into the late game, zombies could still get it done by going wide, but I think that, Zombies is definitely going to need to have some more fat, meaty options to take on some of these other mid-range decks that I think are gonna start to grow in the meta. The meta is not going to have to be as low to the ground anymore, so having a little more beef, and Cletus plays well with Zombies, so I don't know, I'm not really sure exactly what's going to happen. Maybe Cletus isn't going to go anywhere, but I think it's in a very interesting position if you've been looking to get some. Maybe try it out as a sideboard option in your Zombies deck. It shouldn't be a situation where you're going to lose a ton of money. He's certainly not at a bad place considering where the price has been. You don't want to hold on to these too long, because next thing you know they're going to cycle out of standard. But if you want to play with a few copies for a few months, now would definitely be the time to do it. Anyway, I just want to make it clear I'm not trying to beat up on Wizards too much. I know a lot of people have been giving them grief for basically flip-flopping all over the place, in terms of saying they're going to be aggressive with banning, they're going to stay after it, and then, this time they kind of don't really seem very aggressive. I'm sorry, last time they don't seem very aggressive with Feldar Guardian, getting a pass and then the emergency ban, so it seemed like, were you guys really going to get after it or not? And then after that, with Aetherworks Marvel, it's like, well, they were so cautious last time, are they going to do it this time? And then they do. But I mean, I think that was a good thing. But then to top it all off, the thing that's interesting is they said the next announcement will be on August the 28th. And they said they're going to, and I quote, pull back on these announcements. Will not have another banned and restricted announcement until after Pro Tour Hour of Devastation, which is a change from what they had been doing with an announcement before and after each set. And so they've just kind of been all over the place in terms of there's going to be a core set, there's not going to be a core set, there is going to be a core set, we're going to do these bans before and after each set, wait, maybe that's too much banning. And when Wizards has been all over the place, it just doesn't help when they say they're going to do something like make a banned and restricted announcement on a certain date, and then they don't even get the day right. And I think that Wizards just kind of seems like a chicken running around with no head, a little bit disorganized and chaotic, but they make a great product, and I think the direction and the ultimate decision they made here is a good decision. I think they did the right thing, and that's great. So anyway, that's all for today, folks. Tune in next time when I'll bring you some more information on what I think you need to do to pile up some more extra tickets for buying more cards, playing more drafts, or whatever you want to do in the area of Magic the Gathering Online, speculation, economics, and finance.